I kind of expected this series to end off in a way to where it says go read the light novel, but I didn't think it would be like that obvious. Like, go read the light novel, know what has happened to all of these characters, because wow, it just left you hanging there. And I expected that, honestly, and so I guess in a way I'm not really bugged by it. I mean, I'm honestly actually surprised how well this was adapted from what I have heard from the light novel readers. I've been told that this series has been beautifully adapted, and it's definitely a series that many of the light novel readers recommend. Like, watch the anime and then go read the light novel. And I guess, in a way, this anime series did do its job right. I mean, I've seen a lot of anime over the years. I mean, I think all of you are very aware of this. And I think that there's a big divide here usually when it comes to these type of series. When, light novels turn into an anime. Usually, with, the final episode of the series, usually goes either an anime original route, and it's kind of just butchers the main point of the series, or it leaves you hanging with a go read the original source type ending. And many could be very divided with this type of ending, because many are like, I want a conclusion to this series, but many will also say, like, wait a minute, I don't want this to be butchered and just be horrible and then leave a stain on the series. And so when I look at both sides, I personally rather have this type of ending. For instance, go read the light novel ending, because at the very least, if this series eventually gains more popularity, it can have a season 2. It doesn't just completely axe and butcher everything that was already good about the series and then just end it with a rushed final episode. So if there is one thing I can give to the finale of Suka Suka, there is a potential possibility for maybe one day getting a season 2. But I don't know if that'll happen, because I honestly am unaware of how popular this series is. I mean, how I feel about this series is how I kind of felt about Roka. It was a great anime, but I feel like it's going to be one of those series that are just going to be forgotten and it's not really going to be remembered. You give it about a couple months from now to 6 months, or even a year from now, many are probably not going to remember. Maybe even myself, I probably won't even remember the series, which is sad because, in all honesty, besides what I just said, it was a good ride and a phenomenal series. It had its problems here and there, but overall, I did enjoy the series, and I'm very glad so many of you light novel readers were vocal about this series and saying, Chibi, I know you might not like it, but you need to watch it. It's going to be great. It's what everything you want from a series, tragic and all of that. And you guys were definitely right about that. It had that tragedy in it, and that really caught me by surprise, especially the way it was delivered in this finale, which I will get into. But I just want to talk about my overall thoughts of, the series and how it was adapted first before I do that. So, basically, I have to say that Suka Suka is a series I feel like is a hidden gem. It's definitely the hidden gem of Spring of Anime 2017. It's one of those series I feel like I would definitely recommend to all to watch if you're into something that's a little bit tragic and different from the norm. And it really did a good job with what it had. And I probably, if I have the time, no promises, I don't want to promise and disappoint anyone because I know how that is. Basically, if I have the time and all that, if I get other stuff out of the way that I'm already reading, I'm trying to catch up with ReZero right now because I've been a little bit behind on that, and I'm also reading SAO too, but basically, once I catch up with these other series I'm doing, I might get around to, reading Suka Suka. I might. But like I said, no promises. I don't want to disappoint the major fans of Suka Suka or anime onlys that are now going to be diving into the light novel. I don't want to disappoint you, but I might dive into it because it was a really great anime series. And I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I stuck through with it to the very end. I'm very happy with how this conclusion was, even though it didn't answer everything I wanted. And normally, that would piss me off. It would. Normally, that pisses me off when I watch an anime. But on one side, do I want an anime original that just butchers the original source and makes it to where there's no possibility of a continuation unless you get a reboot? Or do I want an anime series to end off with a cliffhanger that doesn't really answer anything, but at the very least, I could either go and read the light novel and have a general understanding of what the series is about. Also, if the series gets popular, it could have a season 2. So when I look at both things, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be an anime only that is just given a middle finger and said, hey, go read the light novel. I mean, I'd rather be that type of dude than, the one that has a butchered ending that, I look at the series like, ugh, this is just a bad series. So, overall, I think I'm fine with it, but normally it pisses me off. I think over the many years I've been watching anime, I think I'd rather have these type of endings than anything else. Anyways, though, getting into the finale, okay? I think I've, taken enough time to say my overall thoughts on the series. Let's talk about the finale. So, the final episode, it was exactly what we all, well, I guess not expected, in a way. I mean, we expected something sad to happen. However, I just didn't think the series would go through with it. Because with all of the episodes building up to something happening to Kutori, like something really bad, sad, and tragic happening to her, I expected the series to do like some form of cop-out, where, everything was fine, she lived, and nobody died, or nobody really had anything that mattered at the end. Everything was fine, everybody was happy. And that's easily how the series could have went with the finale. I mean, if, the actual studio that was making this decided to go anime original, that could have happened. They could have easily have done that, and maybe it would have been good. I don't know. I mean, that didn't happen, so we won't ever really know. The big point here is that I expected the series to do a cop-out, because with all of the obvious signs of tragedy coming and all that, I figured the series was just gonna say, fuck you, yeah, she's not really gonna die or anything, and that didn't happen, and I was like, I was really surprised, because with how obvious it was, I just figured they would not kill her, but it happened. And so I will give the studio and the writer of the light novel series, some props to that, because normally when I read a series or watch a series that has death flags like this building up over and over, usually the writer or whatever tries to do a cop-out. Like, oh no, that I was just leading you along and they're not really gonna die or anything. Now, only certain seinen mangaka I know of that actually go through with that. I mean, with tragedy. I mean, I can think of Berserk and Tokyo Ghoul and all that. So, when there's death flags, usually a character will die. But I mean, in terms of series like this, what Suka Suka is about, I figured there would be a cop-out or something for a happy ending, but that did not happen, so that caught me by surprise. Honestly, I was very surprised, and that's what really hit me in the feels when I was watching this, because I figured it was going to be A-okay. When everything was done, everything's going to be A-okay. But as the episode continued on, it kept building up and building up. I'm like, when's it going to go happy? And it kept going further and further into tragedy. I'm like, what? And when I hear the song playing that played in the first episode, that was a very, very eerie song, and that's what really got me into the series when I heard that song in the first episode. Basically, when I saw that song, or heard that song, not saw, I don't know why, I can't see a song. When I heard that song playing, when Kutori was sacrificing herself, her final thing she was going to do before she completely disappeared, like, the personality that was Kutori is gone, when she went in, and you hear that song playing, and when you hear and see flashbacks as, both characters are remembering, William and Kutori are remembering, and you just see these scenes of how they kind of fit in, and transition into what Kutori is currently doing when she's fighting, and you see, like, when she used to have her blue hair, she was dancing and all that, and then when he goes over to her with the red hair and now she's losing herself, she also dances while she's cutting up the monsters, and I'm like, bro, like, that is so sad. And as the music ramps up and shit, and you see the flashbacks happening, you see her fighting, she's getting stabbed and just eviscerated, she continues to fight, and then you see William, when he goes back over to him, he's just sitting there screaming and all that, and he's just trying to drag himself, he can't even move because he's hurt his body so much, and you see the man just dragging himself on the ground. You even see the drag marks behind him as he's trying to pull himself through the sand. It just really puts more emphasis on how sad that was, because no matter what he wanted to do, he couldn't do it. He couldn't save her because he just did not have the strength to move at all. And when he's just sitting there watching her kill herself, basically, trying to save him and everyone else, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't stop it. And that really goes along with the theme of his character and what's been building up since the beginning of finding out how he cannot save anyone, how everyone he tries to always save ends up dead regardless. He can't do anything. And the man's been suffering for a long time. Like, this man's been suffering for hundreds of years. And when you see this man once again lose something that he couldn't do anything about, I'm like, bro, that's fucked up and tragic. But that's the shit I like. And that's the shit I like. I love tragedy. As I've said, it makes me sad, yes, but I love tragedy because it just adds more emotion to some scenes. And when you see that, when William's just trying everything he can to try to get to her, but he couldn't, and then when she's just getting stabbed all over the place, and when she walks back, and you could know it's completely over, it's GG, and she's done, and that was a sad moment when you all of a sudden, once that scene's done, you just see the picture and you just see Kutori's picture and all that, and it just lets us know she died. And William is apparently up and missing, so we don't know where really he's at. I mean, most likely that man's on, like, off the deep end right now. Like, this man has lost everything. He probably just wants to die or something, judging by, how his character's been built up. So that's probably what's going on. He's probably just wandering around and doesn't have any purpose to live or something, and maybe he died. I don't know, but that's, like I said, that's why it's a light novel, or read the light novel ending, because it doesn't really let you know what really happened to him, but we can assume that Kutori died because of the way the ending was structured. The reason why is because how it goes back and shows us the birth of Kutori. That's what really kind of pounds it in to let us know she did, in fact, die, because when she was born, you see this baby pop up, which is obviously Kutori. Now, it could be in the present, okay? It could be in the present that was happening, but I'm assuming that was a flashback to when, Kutori was first born. You see this little girl pop up and all that, and then all of a sudden you just see how, she calms down, you see how her, hair is done. It's obviously Kutori, and basically the conversation there is like, oh, you're coming into a world that's very cruel and awful, and I'm like, oh my god, like, it's basically letting us know that she was born just to die like that. It's really cruel, it's really fucked up, but it was a great way to kind of conclude her character. So overall, when I look at the series and the way the finale was done, it was definitely surprising. I didn't expect it to bring feels. I had a couple tears, I'm not gonna lie, I won't deny that. I mean, I know many want to, deny or lie about that type of stuff when they're watching anime, but I'll be honest here, I had some emotion, coming in, and I had some tears. I'm like, yo, that's sad. That was really sad. It's probably because of just how the scene was directed in general, just the way it was animated and the way it kind of correlated with the earlier scenes of the series, to the way the music was in the background. It really just built up the emotions in that scene, and it just really added more emphasis when you see William just dragging himself. It makes it so much sadder. So, I feel like, overall, Suka Suka was definitely a good ride, and I felt like it gave me what I wanted when I think about it, because, I mean, let's look at the big picture here, okay? When we started this series, we really, anime-only-wise, okay? Let's not talk about light novel readers, okay, for a sec. Anime-only-wise, when we started this series, what we really wanted was to know what happened in the first episode. We knew whatever was going on, something happened to Kutori, her hair was different, and it looked like she was killing herself or something. And in fact, that's kind of what she did in the finale, so it did stick true to that. We just wanted to know what was going on with her, what happened to William. That's kind of what we wanted to know when we started the series. In a way, when you look at the grand scheme of things of this, series, it did answer those questions. I mean, it answered the question of what happened to Kutori in terms of, what happened in the first episode to right now in this latest episode, the finale, and also what's going on with William. So it did kind of answer what we wanted and gave us what we wanted. So I'm pretty satisfied with that. And when I do look at it too, it seems like the character arcs of Kutori and William was concluded as well. I mean, unless their characters are still alive, which I honestly have no idea because I haven't read the original source, but I want to assume that Kutori most likely is dead. There might be a possibility that she could be reborn or something. Maybe she could come around and be reborn, but for now though, I do think she is dead, and I don't think William is dead. I just don't think he's probably dead. I believe he's probably wandering around just trying to find a purpose in life because he's lost everything. That's probably what I think is going on. So overall, tragic conclusion. The series kept to its guns. It didn't try to cop out from what it set up, which I appreciate. And yeah, it's one of those hidden gems of Spring of Anime 2017. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How did you feel about this series? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Are you going to remember this series? Are you feel like you're gonna probably forget about it maybe 5 months from now to a year from now? Be honest in the comments below. Love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.